The water was cold, a sharp bite against my skin, but I didn't care. I dove deeper, letting the lake swallow me whole, as if it could wash away the ache in my chest. I was 24, adrift in a small town in upstate New York, and tonight, I needed to drown out the world. I surfaced, gasping, my breath fogging in the cool evening air. The lake was still, its surface a mirror for the fading pinks and oranges of the sky. I thought I was alone until I heard the splash. My heart jolted. Someone else was here. I spun around, water dripping into my eyes, and saw him. Elias, my neighbor, wading toward me with that quiet intensity he always carried. His dark curls clung to his forehead, and his hazel eyes caught the last light of the day, glinting like they held a secret. "Thought you'd have this place to yourself, huh, Caleb?" he called, his voice teasing but soft, like he was testing the air between us. At 26, Elias was a mystery wrapped in small-town charm. Tall, lean, with a smile that could unravel you if you let it. We'd been neighbors for 2 years, sharing nods over the fence, small talk about the weather, but never much more. He was the guy who fixed cars in his driveway, who waved at kids on bikes, who seemed to belong here in a way I never would. I laughed, trying to shake off the nervous buzz in my chest. "Didn't know you were the swimming type," I said, treading water. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. He grinned, swimming closer. "There's a lot you don't know about me." His tone was light, but something in his eyes wasn't. It was like he was daring me to ask, to push past the surface of our neighborly routine. I didn't, not yet. Instead, we swam, the silence between us comfortable but heavy, like it was waiting for something to break. The lake was our refuge, a place where the world's noise couldn't follow. I'd moved to this town, Havenwood, population 3,000, after college, chasing a quieter life after the chaos of growing up in Chicago. My parents' divorce had left me raw, skeptical of connection, and I'd come here to rebuild, to teach history at the local high school, to be someone new. But small towns have a way of holding you at arm's length, and I'd felt like an outsider ever since. Elias, though, was different. He'd grown up here, knew everyone, yet he always seemed a little apart, like he was carrying something no one else could see. I'd caught him watching me sometimes, when I mowed my lawn or carried groceries in, and it wasn't just curiosity. It was something deeper, something that made my pulse race and my thoughts tangle. As we floated in the lake, the sky darkened, stars pricking through the dusk. Elias swam closer, his shoulder brushing mine. "You ever feel like you're hiding from something out here?" he asked, his voice low, almost a whisper. I swallowed, my throat tight. "All the time," I admitted. "You?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he tilted his head back, staring at the stars. "Yeah," he said finally, "but it's not just hiding. It's waiting." "For what?" I asked, my voice barely above the lapping water. He turned to me, his face so close I could see the faint scar above his eyebrow, the way his lashes framed his eyes. "For the right moment," he said, and then softer, like he was afraid the words would break. "For the right person." My heart stopped. I didn't know what to say, didn't know how to name the heat spreading through me. I'd never told anyone I was gay. Not here, not in this town where everyone knew everyone's business. I kept it locked away, a secret I carried like a weight. But Elias's words, his closeness, felt like a key turning in a door I'd bolted shut. Before I could respond, he swam toward the dock, pulling himself up with ease. I followed, my limbs heavy with something more than the cold. We sat there, dripping, the wood rough under our hands. The silence stretched, but it wasn't empty. It was alive with possibility. "Caleb," he said, his voice barely audible, "there's something I need to tell you." I held my breath, waiting for the words that would change everything. The night air was cool, but my skin burned where Elias's gaze lingered. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring out at the lake like it might give him the courage he needed. I wanted to ask, to push, but something in his stillness held me back. This wasn't just a conversation. It was a confession. "I've been coming to this lake since I was a kid," he started, his voice steady but laced with something raw. "Used to sneak out at night just to feel free, like I could be someone else for a while." He glanced at me, his eyes searching. "You ever feel like that? Like you're playing a part?" I nodded, my throat tight. "Every day," I said. "This town. It's like I'm always on stage, trying to be the guy they expect. The teacher, the neighbor, the straight guy." The last words slipped out before I could stop them, and my stomach dropped. I'd never said it out loud, not to anyone. Elias didn't flinch. Instead, his lips curved into a small, knowing smile. "Yeah," he said. "I know that feeling." My pulse raced. Was he saying what I thought he was? I wanted to ask, but fear clamped down hard. Havenwood wasn't exactly a haven for people like me. Like us, maybe. I'd heard the whispers at school, the casual slurs tossed around like they were nothing. I'd seen the way some folks looked at anyone who didn't fit the mold. Elias, though, seemed unfazed, like he'd made peace with something I was still fighting. He shifted closer, his knee brushing mine. "I've been hiding something too," he said. "For years. Since I was 16. Sneaking out to this lake, trying to figure out who I was." He paused, his breath hitching. "I'm gay, Caleb, and I've been in love with you since the day you moved in." The world tilted. His words hit me like a wave, pulling me under, stealing my breath. I stared at him, my mind scrambling to catch up. Elias, quiet, steady Elias, had been carrying this secret, this longing, for 2 years, and I'd been too scared, too blind to see it. "Elias," I whispered, my voice shaking. I didn't know." He laughed, a soft, bitter sound. "I didn't want you to, not at first. I thought I could just keep it to myself. But then I saw you out here, swimming alone, looking like you were carrying the world on your shoulders. And I couldn't stay quiet anymore." I reached out, my hand trembling, and touched his arm. His skin was warm, solid, real. "I'm glad you didn't," I said, "because I've been hiding too. And I feel something for you. I have for a while." His eyes widened, hope flickering in them like starlight on the lake. For a moment we just sat there, the weight of our truths settling between us. Then he leaned in, slow, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. His lips brushed mine, tentative at first, then deeper, a kiss that felt like coming home. The lake, the stars, the world, it all faded, leaving just us. But even as my heart soared, a shadow crept in. This was Havenwood. Secrets didn't stay secret forever, and love like ours came with a cost. I pulled back, my breath uneven. "What happens now?" I asked. Elias's smile was bittersweet. "We figure it out. Together." The next morning, I woke to the memory of Elias's kiss, my skin still tingling where his hands had been. But the warmth faded fast when I stepped outside. Havenwood had a way of watching, and I felt it now, the eyes behind curtains, the whispers waiting to start. I wasn't ready for the world to know, not yet. Elias was in his driveway, tinkering with an old pickup truck. He looked up, his smile bright but cautious. "Morning, neighbor," he called like nothing had changed, but everything had. I crossed the street, my heart pounding. "Hey," I said, glancing around. No one was out, but I felt exposed. "About last night." His smile faltered. "You regretting it?" "No," I said quickly. "God, no. It's just this town. You know how it is." He nodded, wiping his hands on a rag. I do. But I'm done hiding, Caleb. I've spent too long pretending to be someone I'm not. For you, though, he stepped closer, lowering his voice. I'll go at your pace. Whatever you need. His words were a lifeline, but they didn't erase the fear. I'd seen what happened to people who didn't fit in here. There was a kid at school, Jamie, who'd come out last year. The rumors, the taunts, the way his parents stopped showing up at PTA meetings, it had driven him to transfer. I didn't want that for us. But I also didn't want to lose Elias. That afternoon, we met at a diner on the edge of town. A place where the coffee was bad but the booths were private. We sat across from each other, our knees touching under the table. Tell me about you, I said, wanting to know everything. The real you. Elias leaned back, his fingers tracing the edge of his mug. Grew up here, like I said. My dad was a mechanic, taught me everything I know about cars. Mom passed when I was 10. Cancer. His voice softened. After that, it was just me and Dad, and he's not the kind of guy you tell secrets to, especially not this one. I reached for his hand, squeezing it. I'm sorry, I said. My parents split when I was 15. Mom got me in the divorce, but she was always working. I learned to keep things to myself too. He smiled, his thumb brushing over my knuckles. Look at us, two guys hiding in plain sight. But hiding wasn't sustainable. That night, we walked through town, careful not to touch, but the air between us crackled. We passed the general store, where Mrs. Hargrove, the town gossip, gave us a long look. My stomach twisted. Elias noticed and bumped my shoulder. Don't let her get to you, he said. She's got nothing better to do. I wanted to believe him, but the fear lingered. And it wasn't just the town. There was something else, something Elias wasn't saying. I could feel it in the way he'd tense when his phone buzzed, the way he'd glance away when I asked about his past. He was still holding something back, and I needed to know what. A week later, the tension broke. We were at the lake again, the place where it all began. The water was colder now, autumn creeping in, but we swam anyway, chasing the warmth of each other's presence. Afterward, we lay on the dock, wrapped in a blanket, our shoulders pressed together. Elias, I said, my voice steady despite the nerves. What aren't you telling me? He stiffened, then sighed. You're too good at reading me, he said. There's someone from my past, a guy I knew in high school, Ryan. His voice cracked on the name. We were close, too close for this town. When people found out, it got bad. Really bad. I sat up, my heart sinking. What happened? He looked away, his jaw tight. Ryan's family, they didn't take it well. His dad kicked him out. He left town, and I never heard from him again. I stayed, but it cost me. People talked. My dad stopped looking me in the eye. I learned to keep my head down, to be the guy who fixes cars and doesn't make waves. I reached for him, pulling him close. I'm so sorry, I whispered. You didn't deserve that. He leaned into me, his voice barely audible. I thought I could move on, you know? But then you showed up, and it was like I got a second chance. But I'm scared, Caleb. Scared of what this town will do to us. I kissed him, fierce and sure, pouring everything I felt into it. We'll face it together, I said. Whatever comes. But the next day, trouble found us. I was at school grading papers when I got a text from Elias. Meet me at the diner. Now, his voice was tight when I called him. Someone saw us, he said. At the lake. It's starting again. I rushed to the diner, my heart pounding. Elias was in the back booth, his face pale. Mrs. Hargrove, he said. She's been talking. Says she saw us kissing. It's all over town by now. My stomach dropped. I thought of Jamie, of Ryan, of the way this town chewed up anyone who didn't fit. But then I looked at Elias, at the fear and hope warring in his eyes, and I knew I wasn't running. We're not hiding, I said, my voice firm. Not anymore. He reached for my hand, his grip tight. You sure? I nodded. I love you, Elias, and I'm done being afraid. The days that followed were a storm. Whispers turned to stares, then to words spat in passing. At school, a parent confronted me, demanding to know if the rumors were true. I didn't deny it. Couldn't. Elias faced his own battles. His dad, who'd barely spoken to him in years, left a note on his door. Leave town. You're no son of mine. It broke him, but he didn't break. We fought back in our own way. We held hands in public, kissed at the lake where anyone could see. We refused to be invisible. Some people surprised us. My colleague, Ms. Rivera, who brought us coffee and said, "You're braver than I ever was." Others turned away, their silence louder than words. One night, we found a brick through Elias's window, a slur scrawled across it. I held him as he cried, his body shaking with years of buried pain. But even then, he didn't waver. "We're stronger than this," he said. "We have to be." And we were. We started a support group at the community center, a safe space for kids like Jamie, for anyone who felt alone. Slowly, others joined. Teenagers, parents, even Mrs. Hargrove, who showed up one night, her eyes red with regret. "I was wrong," she said. "I'm sorry. It wasn't perfect. Some wounds never fully heal." But as winter settled over Havenwood, Elias and I stood by the lake, our hands intertwined. The water was frozen now, but beneath the ice, it still flowed, steady and sure, like our love. We'd faced the storm and come out stronger. And as we kissed under the stars, I knew we'd keep fighting. For us, for others, for a world where love didn't have to hide.